everyone, today it is all about the character DIYs on Make It with Mod Podge. I'm Cathie and I'm going to show you how you can add fabric to canvas shoes. I'm using this adorable bluey character fabric. I'm using Fabric Mod Podge, and I'm also going to show you how you can make some character keychains or purse dangles, backpack dangles, and of course I'm using some other character fabric. I've got the Care Bears going on. They fit perfectly on these keychains. All right, let's get started with this tutorial. I was so excited when I saw all of this awesome character fabric at Michael's. I just knew I wanted to do a sneaker makeover and those keychains. These are really great summer fun projects. I got plain canvas shoes, this bluey fabric, and I'm using Fabric Mod Podge. The first thing I'm doing is removing the laces, and I'm gonna make a pattern using wax paper. I have perfected this technique. I've made dozens and dozens of pairs of these shoes. You're just going to tear off a piece of wax paper, and you're gonna wrap that all the way around the shoe. Fold it up at the bottom to create sort of a handle, and that will just help you hold the paper in place. Then go ahead and use a pencil to trace out the pattern. Don't worry if you make a mistake, it's just wax paper. You can always do it a second time. So open that up, you can kind of see that outline there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and we will test this and make sure it's the right fit on the shoe. It's looking pretty good. I'm not putting the fabric where the eyelets are because that is way too much fussy cutting for me. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that out of our fabric. I like using the wax paper because you can position it with the design so you can really get a good placement. So let's take a look at that. It looks pretty good on our shoe. And you're going to repeat this process for both sides. Each side of the shoe is going to be slightly different, so make sure you pattern both sides. And you want to make sure you're using the fabric formula of Mod Podge. This is specifically for fabric, and once it's top coated, it's going to be very durable, flexible. It is water friendly. Gonna go ahead and coat that nice and thick on the back of the fabric, and then place your piece down onto the canvas shoe. This works best on clean shoes. If you were to do this to a pair of old shoes, you would make sure you clean them thoroughly first. So we're gonna go repeat that process on the other side, and you can see how thick I'm adding this to the back of the fabric, and I'm really making sure I get all of the edges really well. Go ahead and place it down, smooth with your fingers, and then we are going to take a look at both sides there, looking so cute. And next you're going to top coat. I'm doing 3 top coats on this with a dry time of an hour in between. And you're just gonna brush that on, and that's how easy it is to top coat it. That's that same formula. Once it's dry, you're ready to bling them up. I wanted to add a lot of gems to this. Of course, you do not need to bling them up, but I definitely wanted to add some stones. So I'm using some Fabric Mod Podge there. You can use your favorite gem glue. And I'm just setting rhinestones along the edge there, and I'm gonna wrap those rhinestones all the way around the blue fabric. It just makes it fun and kind of, you know, an extra little sparkle. And these are kid shoes, although I do have a pair similar with lots of bling also. So let's add some tiny rhinestones to Bluey there, and we'll just put some rhinestones right onto him. And then I'm gonna fill in the back with a little bit of a polka dotted look. I'm just adding some more of that glue, and then I'm gonna fill in with blue gems just to give it a little bit more sparkle. And look how cute that turns out. They're so adorable. Now I want to take these one step further, so I'm gonna be adding a bow to them, and I just measured to see what size I wanted to do. I'm gonna do my traditional 15 by 5. This is the same size that I use for hair bows, and I'm using Fabric Mod Podge, so I've got 2 pieces here that are 15 by 5, and I'm adding the Fabric Mod Podge to half of that, folding it over and letting that dry. And I'm doing 2 because I want 1 for each shoe. You can use a decorative scissor along the edge. I'm using a wave scissor. You could use pinking shears, or you could just use a regular scissor. Cut the edges just to trim them up. Then we're gonna fold that in half and cut that on an angle to get a nice pretty bow edge there. Then for this, I'm gonna use a rubber band. It's just a small rubber band, and I'm gonna fold it over kind of like a shirt collar, and then we're gonna cinch it in the center and add that rubber band to secure it. I will be adding some fabric there as well. So go ahead and wrap that rubber band around a couple of times. That will hold that in place. And then I'm gonna use a strip of the fabric. I've just cut a little strip, free-handed it, and we're gonna wrap that around and trim that up. And I am gonna hand sew this. So I'm just taking a few stitches to hand sew that. Hot glue doesn't really work here because this is gonna get used a lot. The laces are gonna go through that. So I'm keeping that channel there. So just sewing that top edge. So let's go ahead and start to relace the shoe. I'm only gonna relace it about halfway up to the third hole. And then I'm gonna take those laces and thread it through the back of the bow and thread the other one through the other side. And now your bow is attached to the shoes. This is a really fun specialty shoe. Really great if you're going to some shows or events. So cute. Be cute for a theme park also. I love how these turned out. Look at all that bling on there. Okay, next up, I'm gonna show you how we do some character keychains. I'm using Fabric Mod Podge plus a sparkle, and these are keychain blanks. I found these in the kids section over at Michael's, and I like them because they're very easy to remove that keychain for decorating. You don't need any pliers or anything like that. Just make sure you peel off the protector, and you've got this gorgeous little acrylic disc. And this fabric was also from Michael's, so you can do a rough cut there. And now we're gonna use Fabric Mod Podge, and I'm putting that right onto the acrylic disc. You can see I'm doing a thick coat, and I'm going all the way to the edge. We're gonna be top coating this also. Now for this, I'm gonna put it on the back side and press down, and then we're gonna top coat this twice, but right now we're just gonna top coat it and let it dry, then we'll trim away the extra. You wanna use some sharp scissors there. Go ahead and poke that hole back in there. I'm just using a toothpick. And then we're gonna top coat that one more time just to really make sure that is secured down, because these are keychains or bag charms, so it needs a little extra heavy duty top coat. This is Mod Podge Sparkle, and I'm just going around the outside edge and then feathering that in. And once that's dry, it's gonna create a really beautiful soft sparkle. You could do all kinds of different types of glittered edges if you wanted to, but I just wanted a little hint of sparkle. And now I'm gonna go in and fill in my design with some more of those tiny gems, just using the actual Care Bear design as my template for my color choices and my placement. Once they're dry, you can go ahead and replace that keychain. It's really that simple. This is a really fun summer craft that you can do with kids.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that these projects have inspired you on how you can use up some of that character fabric to make some fashion DIYs. I'll be back here next week with another fun project to share with you, and until then, have a super crafty week. Bye.